Bagiku, rumah adalah tempat paling aman di dunia. Maka, sejauh manapun aku melangkah, pasti kaki akan kembali ke rumah. Namun, selain punya tempat yang bisa kusebut rumah, ada satu tempat yang kehangatannya membuatku betah berlama-lama. Mata ini tertuju melihat kekaguman pada satu sudut yang menginspirasi banyak orang. Sejak kehadirannya, rumahku pun bertumbuh.
Selamat datang di Bandara Internasional Kuala Namu. Bandara yang terletak di Kabupaten Deli Serdang atau 26 km arah timur dari pusat kota Medan. Sebagai pelopor Smart Airport di Indonesia bagian barat, yang semua aspek operasi bandara terhubung dengan sistem digitalisasi yang baik. Bandara Internasional Kuala Namu telah mengimplementasikan kemudahan layanan untuk pengguna jasa bandara. Sebagai pelopor keamanan penerbangan, Bandara Internasional Kuala Namu merupakan salah satu bandara pertama di Indonesia yang terintegrasi dengan sistem penanganan dan keamanan bagasi. Ruang tunggu yang didesain dengan nyaman dan modern menyuguhkan berbagai fasilitas bagi pengguna jasa. Customer Service Center juga disediakan bagi penumpang yang mengalami permasalahan penerbangan. Area parkir yang luas dibagi sesuai kebutuhan pengguna jasa. Seperti penyediaan lahan parkir inap. Bandara Internasional Kuala Namu merupakan salah satu bandara yang memiliki runway terpanjang di Indonesia. Bandara Internasional Kuala Namu menyiapkan fasilitas kargo seluas 1,3 hektar yang memudahkan para pelaku bisnis dalam sektor logistik. Saat ini, Bandara Kuala Namu memiliki 8 unit garbarata, 35 parking stand, serta didukung oleh hydrant pit refueling yang merupakan pengisian bahan bakar modern yang didesain di bawah tanah. Seluruh operasional keamanan ke bandar udaraan dikawal oleh lebih dari 500 personil Aviation Security dan juga didukung oleh personil TNI Polri. Selain keamanan penerbangan, keselamatan juga diperhatikan oleh Bandara Kuala Namu.
Can I guide you, sir? Your slot still 1040 on the next flight, sir.
Dengan kehadiran Bandara Kuala Namu, rumahku Deli Serdang pun bertumbuh. Warga sekitar ikut menikmati perluasan fasilitas, seperti akses tol langsung ke bandara, dan bisnis yang semakin berkembang. Bandara Kuala Namu menghidupi masyarakat dengan kehadirannya. Daerah wisata pun terekspos, taman buah di Lubuk Pakam jadi pilihan plesir dan hiburan untuk warga Deli Serdang juga pendatang. Tempat-tempat baru ini hadir karena Bandara Kuala Namu. Kualitas hidup meningkat bersamanya. Sekarang bagiku, pulang ke rumah adalah melihat banyak hal yang dulu kelewatkan. Deli Serdang kini jadi tempat yang menyenangkan. Wira swasta tak ragu berinvestasi dan tingkat kriminalitas pun rendah. Lega rasanya rumahku berkembang bersama Bandara Kuala Namu. Di 5 tahunmu berdiri, teruslah jadi inspirasiku. Mencipta manusia bahagia dengan pelayanan yang terbaik.
Okay, so welcome to Medan. We're here at Menacom in the cupping room. It's exciting times for us all, simply because we've got all of these great coffees that we've travelled around to in the Lintong area. So what we're doing is we're trying to cut for acidity, brightness in the coffee, some body, some fruitness, just all of those characteristics that we enjoy to do. This is like a coffee roaster's heaven here. So as an example, taking the spoon in, and aerating it and spraying it right to the back of your palate. So you're picking up all of those notes of the coffee. So we do it in the 5 sections here, which is a mixture of a particular region of the Lintong, and then we move on to the next one. This is the coffee that we saw yesterday at Solon Stangbul. So this is the project coffee that we're looking at. Nice rich green, nice even clean colour. Let's have a taste of this coffee. A nice front up sweetness of fruit, some nice brightness there as well. Beautiful body, and it's just a nice clean round finish in it. So I think this has been the choice here on the table so far this morning.
Luwak coffee. Very excited to try some Luwak coffee. I've been developing retail coffee for 5 years, and every time I say to someone that I develop coffee, they say, "Have you tried Luwak coffee?" And this is the coffee that's gone through a cat's bum, basically. So it sells in some markets for $1,000 a kilo. A cup of coffee will cost you $50 in some parts of the US. So looking forward to having a taste and just seeing what all the fuss is about. So let's have a taste.
Hi, it's Sean Edwards from Cafe Culture magazine. I'm here at Sumatra in Indonesia on an Origin trip. This is my second trip to Origin. This time I've come with a group of other coffee roasters and other people within the Australian coffee industry just to see how their coffee's been processed and farmed in this region. We're looking here at mostly the Mandelian coffees that have been grown in this region for export all around the world. We've been invited up here today by Menacom Coffee, who are one of the major cooperatives around this area and one of the major importers of Sumatran coffees to the world. Beautiful. Wonderful product, a wonderful product. I love Sumatran coffee.
Okay, so we're now probably 4 hours away from Parapat. We're in the Lingtong area and we're at around about 1,350 feet above sea level. The guys have been showing me the traditional Typica plant here, which is the oldest style of coffee tree that they've used here traditionally in Sumatra for a long, long time. They have great, big, rich coloured red beans. They're not as weather resistant as the new crop of Typica that they've developed here in Sumatra. With the new varietal of Typica, the red leaf, the difference between the older style Typica that's been traditionally here for a long, long time is it's only harvested once, but the new red leaf Typica is harvested twice a year, so you're virtually getting a double amount of yield. And by all accounts, the coffee is great. It has beautiful acidity, cup acidity, and still has that rich body of Sumatrans that we all love to drink.
Yes, themselves in amongst all.
So we've arrived here in the Lintong area, which is probably around over 6-7 hours away from Medan. Part of the reason why, Sean, that we've come down here is we've been obviously talking about this for a long time, but putting a little bit more back into the coffee farmers, and that's the reason why with this project.
Well, it's
that we're
reality
looking at.
now, isn't it, Justin? We've seen how the people live here, and we've seen their lifestyle, and we've seen what they're producing, which is a beautiful, great product that we're enjoying back home. It's just nice to do a little bit to give back and know what we're doing is really happening.
And so what we've believed, and we have done for a number of years, is that we take quite a lot out of the coffee system in Australia, and I think it's also about time that we actually started to put back into to the areas that we're reaping our rewards from. And I think the Sumatran area is pretty close to our hearts. So this is the area that we're proposing to do the project. We've just been into the house of the first family that we're endeavouring to do some work in their bathroom facilities and toiletry facilities. This area has 9 families, which equates to around 45 people that are all working in the coffee industry here. There's around about 250 hectares of coffee. So it's a big area, and I'm hoping that I can support these guys just step by step, helping them improve their lives, but also helping by purchasing their coffee, and their quality of coffee is good.
What we've really noticed here in Sumatra today is coffee is very important to the whole community and all the little communities throughout the area that we're visiting around the Lake Toba region. Most of the farmers are subsistence farmers, meaning they actually grow other crops apart from coffee, but as we drove around today, you can see most front porches of houses in Sumatra would have some coffee drying naturally out in the sunlight, getting turned over by hand, mostly for their own consumption, also for sales to their neighbours and to other people within their community.
Okay, so what we have here, we have the coffee cherry. We're currently here in Sumatra on the second pick of the crop. As you can see, the cherry, it's not all completely red and ripe. We've got a lot of green ones in there. So typically what we would call that as being hand stripped, so not all of it's been ripened at the one time. We have a very strong fruit ferment smell here. Apparently this coffee was picked yesterday, and it's going to sit in this bucket of water for the rest of the day, and then they're going to lay it out and dry it tomorrow. Ibrahim, what do we do in regards to the coffee's fermentation process here in Sumatra?
Okay, in Sumatra, the way they do the fermentation is different than what they do in Central America, where the correct way of fermentation, you have to ferment it in water, in water tanks. But here, if you do want to achieve a little bit of acidity, a little bit of winey, you keep into these bags, these white bags, overnight or a day and a half. But you can't go longer than that, where it's going to be very fermented and it's very difficult to dry.
Okay.
Yeah. So in this way, this is what the North, the Mandarins people would like to do.
So this is the typical characteristic of this particular region.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so what we have here is the mechanical pulper. So the coffee cherry that falls down into this chute here, there is actually a drum that rotates with like spikes on it that actually rip and remove the cherry skin from the coffee bean itself. And what we actually end up having is the coffee left in parchment. Okay, it's very greasy and slimy, okay, as you can see. Okay, that's the part that we want, but there's also around here is the other part, which is the byproduct of the cherry, which is the skin. Okay, so there again, it's all wet and slimy. Okay, they typically use this, they let that dry and reuse it on the plantations as fertiliser. So after the actual pulping of the coffee, the parchment is actually laid out here on these concrete patios, and as you can see, the boys here are raking. They'll turn this coffee over a number of times during the day, and that is to try and maintain an even drying method of the coffee. Right, so welcome to the mechanical pulper area. So what happens here is after that parchment actually has dried, what will happen is the guys will pour sacks and sacks of the parchment into this floor trap, which then will be brought up and into the pulper itself, and all the green bean will fall in. The byproduct of the parchment will actually shoot out the back of this room, and that's used as another recyclable byproduct. So here are the guys that work here at the processing plant. Their typical day would start by going out to the plantations and picking the red cherries. They'd bring that back, they'll do the pulping, they'll do the hulling, they'll do the raking of the coffee to make sure that it's dry. End of the day, they'd be bagging up the dried coffee, ready to ship up to Medan, and then they'd probably have a little bit of a rest until tomorrow. We're just having some of the locally brewed coffee, very sweet and actually quite milky as well, but a wonderful product, a wonderful product. I love Sumatra. I love Sumatran coffee.
It's good. It's a local coffee, and it's been roasted in a wok, and brown sugar's been added to it. It's quite sweet, and it's been mixed with just a little bit of milk. Beautiful.